Hi everyone, welcome to class today. My name is Rebecca Hall and I'm a student nurse at Kwantlen Polytechnic. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me before we get started. So I grew up in this community. I went to Fraser Heights Secondary. I played softball throughout my whole college career. I went to school at Miami-Dade College in Florida for 2 years, and then I moved to California. I went to Fresno State University for 2 years, where I completed my kinesiology degree. And then I moved back home. I worked in a gym called Innovative Fitness, which is in White Rock, for a year. And then I got into the program at Kwantlen Polytechnic. So today's lesson is going to be a lot more fun and it's going to go a lot quicker if you guys participate, okay? So don't be shy. You can put your hand up or just say what comes to your mind. If you have any questions, I encourage you to ask them. As you think of questions, just put your hand up. There's no stupid questions. So getting started, I'm just going to ask you guys a few questions. You can either think of the answers in your head or you can put your hand up. Okay, so how many of you tan, either outside or in a tanning bed? Okay, a couple of you. How many of you tan without sun protection? Okay, and how many of you use tanning beds? Or have used them before? How many of you believe that the sun is harmful to your skin? So this next question, I just want you to think about it throughout the presentation today. What is Western culture's view on skin color? So that's basically what our kind of culture is today where we live. And then for those of you who maybe are of a different culture in the class, what are the views that you guys have on skin color? Do you think sun safety applies only to people of a certain skin tone? So today, we're just gonna we're gonna clarify what sun exposure means. We're gonna clarify any perceptions of harm it can do to the body. We're going to discuss some of the consequences if the topic isn't addressed. We're going to describe some personal experiences we've had. We're going to explore common or different values and beliefs about sun and safety. And we're going to discuss some of the changes we can make, any behavioral changes and lifestyle changes. So I want you guys to raise your hands or talk out loud and answer this question. What do you know about skin exposure already? Okay, so we've got some great ideas so far. I love the ideas. So basically, sun exposure is any time that your skin is exposed to the sun. And the sun produces what's called ultraviolet light. And it's basically electromagnetic radiation with wavelengths. But the wavelengths are shorter than that of visible light, so you don't really see it. So there's 3 basic wavelengths. There's UVA, UVB, and UVC. So UVA and UVB are usually what we kind of talk about, what you hear in the radio, what you see on the TV most of the time, okay? Especially when they're talking about sunglasses, if you've noticed. So that can cause tanning, burning, aging, wrinkling, okay? So keep that in mind. UVC is absorbed by the ozone layer, so it never reaches us. But all of these UVs are present all year round. So even in December, these UV radiations are hitting us. So before we go any further, I want us to watch a video. It's about 3 minutes long, okay? And this is kind of what inspired me to talk about this topic today. So Okay, so what did you guys think about the video? All right, so we'll have lots of discussion on that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break up into threes or fours, so people around you, and we're going to answer a couple other questions, okay? And then we're going to compare our answers. So, what do you guys think some of the short-term effects are of sun? All right, so let's see what answers we've got, okay? So, who got that you can get freckles and rashes? Right. And what about short term? We're talking about burns, right? So sunburns. This is usually what you get when you go tanning to the beach, and it's a really hot day at the beach. So pain, blistering sometimes. Even in severe cases, you can get second-degree burns. Short term. And then when we're talking about tanning beds, they're really terrible for your eyesight. So they usually tell you to wear goggles when you're inside. The UV rays from tanning beds is actually just as damaging as the UV rays that you have outside. So it can cause your eyes irritation, conjunctivitis, cataract formation, and in some cases you can actually get eye cancer, which is actually a bit of a long-term one. Okay, now we're gonna do the same thing, and we're gonna see what do you think the long-term effects of sun exposure are. Okay, once we've tallied all those up and we've discussed the similarities that each group had, we're going to go through the answers. So, over time, UV radiation, whether or not it's associated with a sunburn, accelerates aging. It makes you look dry. It makes you look wrinkled, loose skin, right? Dull, and the pigment usually changes in your skin. Usually this is called age spots. Okay, so do you guys remember in the video how you could see all those freckles and age spots that the people had? So keep that in mind, all right? That's what's happening long term. Damages in the fibers of your skin called elastin. So what makes your skin elastic? Okay, I want you guys all to feel your faces right now. You know when grandma kind of grabs at your cheek and pulls it? That's called elastin, elasticity, right? So that breaks down and the skin begins to sag and stretch and get loose, okay? The skin bruises and tears more easily, which takes longer to heal when you're older. It can cause the skin cells to cause cancer. That's one of the main things, and that's one of the things that you guys probably hear about the most in media today. So I want you guys to keep in mind as well that in the sunbeds, you have the same risks that you do as if you were to be outside. Okay, sunbeds just have a condensed, basically, UV ray going right at you. So we'll talk a little bit about skin cancer, okay, because that's the one that we hear about the most. So skin cancer is common, usually low-grade growth of the skin. It starts from cells that begin as normal skin cells and then transform into those that produce into potential out-of-control manner. So there are three main types of cancer that you hear about. The first one is basal cell, the second is squamous cell, and the third is melanoma. So we're just going to kind of talk about those briefly. But before I do, let's talk about who is at risk for skin cancer. Okay, so people who have fair skin, people who have freckles already, or people that burn easily. This guy kind of on the page looks like he's had all three. People with light eyes, people who have blonde or red hair, people who have darker skin are affected by it as well. So let's do a little experiment. Let's see if you have one of these features. I want you to stand up, okay? I'm going to get you to stand up if you have blonde or red hair, if you have light eyes, blue, green eyes, if your skin burns easily, if you're pale like Edward Cullen, I want you to stand up. Okay, so look how many people who are at risk. Okay, think about it and think, are you wearing sunscreen, right? So let's go on and keep talking about these types of cancer. Okay, so basal cell carcinomas is cancer. That's the most common cancer in humans. Okay, that's a malignant cancer, or malignant skin cell. Squamous carcinomas, they're most common in immunosuppressed people. So that means basically you have your immune system doesn't work as well. Okay, so you know when you get sick, that's immunosuppressed. And then melanoma carcinoma, which is the most serious. So I want you guys to think and think about your friends and your family. Does anyone have a personal story where sun exposure has affected their life? Anybody know somebody that has skin cancer or, has gotten a really bad burn before? Sometimes it actually can be, sometimes it's a funny story, but it's something that somebody, maybe you got a really bad tan of a hand mark on you or something like that. Has anybody had that experience? Does anybody feel comfortable to share? Okay. Good, so lots of great stories here, okay? The next question I want to ask, we're going to dig deeper into this. So what are some of the common perceptions about sun exposure today in our society? Is it a normal thing? Is it a trend? What is it? Okay, we're going to have a discussion about this. What are some of the barriers? What does culture have to do with sun exposure? Okay, is it cool to wear sun protectant, so sunscreen and that kind of stuff? Does anybody wear that kind of stuff? So we're going to talk about that and discuss. So, keeping that in mind, we're going to talk a bit about skin protectants now. So, obviously the most basic is sunscreen. Anything you want a sunscreen that's at least 30 SPF. An SPF stands for sun protection factor. So anything that's 30 or above is a great tool. Okay, you want to put it on 20 minutes before so that it can sink into your skin. Okay, so not when you're already at the beach and you walk out of your car and you're sweating already. You want to put it on even before you get in the car. Okay. Girls, cosmetic products, they usually have SPF in them, at least 15. Okay, so keep that in mind. I know Clinique does. Contact lenses, you want them to be UV protected. And you want your clothing and sunglasses to be UV protection. A hat is a really good thing to have. Okay, hats are coming back in trend, girls and guys. Having an umbrella, I know it looks kind of funny, but having an umbrella when you go to the beach, one of those big ones, that's good to have, even if you want to just get out of the sun for a little bit, right? And then I really encourage you guys to try not to use the tanning beds because they are so condensed UV radiation that it's not good for you. So that's kind of the end of the project. Um, we're going to discuss it more, and then we're just going to do a quick survey, and then you guys will be out of here.